You are not going to die on ayahuasca. One thing that you can do when you are in that very dark place, when you're like all afraid and all that kind of stuff, is start calling in things of color, of flowers, of birds, of things that and our inside tip that you won't hear a lot. What do you do when you lose your shit on ayahuasca? Your ayahuasca ceremony might be the most beautiful experience of your life, but it also might be one of the most difficult, most challenging one, looking at your deepest fears, your demons. So how do you navigate if you're in a situation like that? And in this video, you will find 14 tips for this situation. So the first thing to understand is that this experience won't last forever. If you are in that very strong state of ayahuasca, maybe a level of paranoia comes in, you might think like, hey, I'll never come back to normal and I'll stay like this forever. And that obviously adds an additional level of pressure to your ceremony. So know that the next day you're gonna be fine. Also that if you feel the ayahuasca very intense, usually that's the peak of your ayahuasca ceremony as well. Then it will start to go down. It then also works in waves as well. But to know that most likely right now you are in the most difficult moment of your ceremony and that you're gonna come back to normal the next day is a very good anchor to have. The second, just as important thing to understand is that you are not going to die on ayahuasca, because there is that process, or could be that process, of death and rebirth on ayahuasca, of the death of the ego, of the sometimes the foundation that you have is so rotten that it needs to be wiped out for something new to be created. And in a spiritual sense, it is a death, and it could even feel like that you are about to die, and very vividly as well. And that can also add to a level of like, oof. But knowing that you're not actually going to die on ayahuasca is very helpful. Also, that process of death and rebirth is actually something very beautiful, very liberating as well. Also, sometimes when we feel the ayahuasca very strongly and it's like we can start to get nervous, we fidget around, and I'm gonna over exaggerate a bit. Sometimes start to move around in that way, and that obviously is going to put you in a more hectic energy as well. So, what you want to do is to actually like get centered, take a deep breath, focus on the inhales, the exhales, to calm yourself, your nervous system down. And even though you might notice that the ayahuasca is still very strong, you will notice that it's a lot more manageable. So leave out the fidgeting, the hectic movement, sit down, concentrate on your breath, and calm yourself down the best you can. One thing which is very important and fundamental is that you trust the shaman, the facilitators, where you're going to drink ayahuasca. I'm gonna exaggerate a bit, but if you feel like the facilitators might perform a surgery on you and steal your organs, like obviously that's not gonna allow you to let go and surrender to the experience. You'll always be alerted, and it doesn't even have to go to that extreme of a situation. But if you always think like, hey, I'm not safe here, what are they doing, is what they're doing okay, not okay, oh, I don't think this is how a ceremony should be done, and you're always on like that lockout and your lookout and you have those walls up, that's not going to be allow you to surrender into the ceremony. So it's very important that you trust your facilitators. I've had it in ceremonies where people have seen me as an angel, seen me as a jaguar, have seen me as a devilish figure or whatever, and in that sense, it's in most cases more of a projection of the participant. So even though you might perceive your facilitator in some bad light, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is that maybe just a projection of mine or what's going on? But in general, it's very important that you feel safe wherever you drink ayahuasca. And if you have enough indications that you don't feel safe, it's better to not participate in the ceremony. Another thing you can do when you feel the ayahuasca is very strong, overwhelming in a way, is to ask for help. And every shaman, every facilitator, every group has ways to help harmonize the energy. It's not like there's a button you press and then the ayahuasca goes away, but there's ways to harmonize. We work a lot with the tobacco, there's the soplo, the rapé, there's the other plants from the Amazon like the ortiga, and different things that the shaman can do to harmonize the energy. So don't feel like you are alone on this journey, and it's totally normal to be overwhelmed, to having to ask for help at times. So if you feel like you are stuck, you cannot push past, you're very afraid, whatever it is, go ask for help. Another important aspect to navigating a difficult ayahuasca ceremony is to be open what ayahuasca wants to show you. I like to say the example, let's say there has been a conflict in your life. And usually there's two people who added fuel to the fire. And now ayahuasca wants to show you the other person's point of view. But maybe part of you doesn't want to see the other person's point of view, because that would mean that you're not as innocent as you make it out to be. The other person isn't as big of an idiot as you think that they are. And part of you, part of the ego, whatever you want to call it, is rejecting that point of view of ayahuasca. But if you are open to what ayahuasca wants to show you, then the compassion, the understanding, the acceptance, the forgiveness will start to come in. So instead of like, oh no, I don't want to, be like, okay, what's behind it? What's the lesson? And that allows you to flow with ayahuasca more. Ayahuasca can be very challenging, but it's also important to know that ayahuasca will never give us more than we can handle. And sometimes it seems like it's more than we can handle, but it's for us to find out that we are a lot stronger than we are. So whatever you feel like it's overwhelming, like you want it to stop, whatever it is, know that there is a reason that it has that level of intensity. To know that it's teaching you strength, it's teaching you to find out deeper things around you. Also, sometimes we need to see things in that level of intensity for us to finally wake up from all the illusions that we keep on telling ourselves. So know that ayahuasca will only be as strong as you will be able to handle it. Sometimes it feels like it's stronger and we can't, but it's for you to find out that you're a lot stronger than you think that you are. This ties into our next point, and is to be thankful and grateful for the experience, which in some ways feels counterintuitive. Oh my God, it's so difficult. I don't know what to do. I'm like confronted with all of this disorder, all these negative things. Why would I be thankful for that? Sergio one time said ayahuasca isn't just beautiful when it's beautiful, it's also beautiful when it's ugly, because it allows us to see the negative aspects of life. It allows us to learn from the darkness, from the shadow, whatever you want to call it. In the end, you also come to drink ayahuasca to connect with the essence of ayahuasca. And now when it's there, don't be like, oh, no, I don't want it. I mean, there's a reason why you wanted to drink ayahuasca. Trust in it, the way it's working in you, in the level of intensity that you're having this experience. And I find it interesting that the people who have more of a mild experience, very loving experience, sometimes say like, oh, I wish I would have like that strong experience that would like, boom, I would see all of my mistakes and whatever, like, okay, I felt some love, but how's that gonna help me? And sometimes people who feel that very strong experience is like, oh no, I just wanna have like a big gentle hug of ayahuasca. One thing that you can do when you are in that very dark place, when you're like all afraid and all that kind of stuff, is start calling in things of color, of flowers, of birds, of things that are in harmony. And that can even start to transform the nature of your ayahuasca ceremony a lot. So that's kind of like an inside joke that you'll probably, or inside tip that you won't hear a lot, but calling in things of colors, of the birds, of the flowers can like make your ceremony that much more brighter and colorful. Also, if you are in a very difficult moment in a ceremony, when you are confronted with a lot of darkness, what you can also do is pray to, independently of dogma, independently of religion or whatever faith you connect with, you can focus on that. You can focus on your heart, on the expansion, on that connection with the divinity, that you are never by yourself, that things are there to help support you on your journey, that the Great Spirit is with you, and those prayers, those reaffirmations can be very beneficial and powerful as well. Another thing that can help in a difficult ceremony is actually asking the ayahuasca to be gentle. The ayahuasca isn't just a substance you drink, it's a spirit that you connect with in a ceremony. And in a way you can also communicate it, you can ask it questions, and if things are very difficult, you can say, oof, let's take a little bit of a break, or can you like show me in a more gentle way? And there are many times where ayahuasca will actually listen. There's also times where it won't. I mean, in the end, it's the ayahuasca knows best in which way it needs to teach you. You can communicate with it, and I've had ceremonies where, you know, like a topic came up for me, and I'm just like, oh, I'm really not, don't feel like I'm ready for that, and then it went away. So you can communicate with it, you can ask it to be gentle. It's not a surefire way and a guarantee that you ask ayahuasca to be gentle and you're gonna have that super gentle experience, but it works in many cases. The next tip to navigate a difficult ayahuasca ceremony, I think it also applies to life in general, is to be okay with the worst case scenario. Because if you think like, hey, my ceremony is going to be good unless this topic comes up, or unless I lose control, or unless this happens, it's kind of like, don't think about the pink elephant, right? So if you just like create that much resistance around a topic and subconsciously put so much energy and focus into it, it's actually not that unlikely that it might actually come up. So having that level of trust, that level of surrender, that whatever is going to come up is going to be, I'm going to be fine with it. And even if I would shit my pants or whatever it is, and I'm like, again, exaggerating things, that I would still be okay, I think that can take a lot of pressure out of it, and not putting ayahuasca in a box that like, hey, as long as everything happens but this, I'm okay. That can like create that level of resistance. So in a way, be okay with the worst case scenario. It also makes the worst case scenario that much less likely to happen. I know it's easier said than done, but again, trust in the ayahuasca and you'll be, it's gonna help you. Another thing is to not be concerned about time. Sometimes when people are in a difficult experience, they ask me, like, hey, how much longer do I have? And then, you know, like, hey, help them. And then 5 minutes later, but how much longer? And then 5 minutes later, but when does it stop? And, you know, in the end, it's the time of the ceremony. And sometimes I tell them, like, it's gonna go as long until you learn your lesson. And the more you resist it, the more it's gonna come back and the more difficult your ceremony is going to be. So don't try to time it. Look at your watch. When will it be over? Hey, I want to leave now, whatever. Like when you're in the experience, just be in the experience. It's fine. Also, again, remember that when you have that very heightened state of ayahuasca, usually within 20 to 30 minutes, it's going to start going down in intensity as well. But don't be overly concerned about time and when it will be over. And last but not least, it's very important that you don't have your phone with you in the ceremony, because there can be those moments, you know, when we feel the ayahuasca very strongly and then we want to just like look at our phone, which is something which we are used to, which many times can calm us down. And then, oh, you know, we get a message, or we want to reach out to a friend, or we get a comprehension on ayahuasca and then we want to communicate that right away, or you want to propose to your partner, or you want to quit your job or fire an employee or whatever, tell your mom that you love her. And but it's like, if you tell her at 2 a.m. at night that you love her, she might be a bit concerned. If you tell her that, you know, you've been drugged in Colombia, she's going to be even more concerned. And just like in general, you are in a you can be in that state where you're overwhelmed, and in that state you want to learn to be with yourself, with those emotions. I'm curious, what have you done when you were in a difficult state in ayahuasca? What has helped you? Write that down in the comments. Also, share this video with somebody who is going to go to an ayahuasca retreat and is a bit nervous. You know, there's a lot of other videos we have on this channel about ayahuasca as well. Check it out, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.